Okay, we are now going to go through some in-person personal training sales scripts. So this is really, really useful. This is actually a little bit more of a framework than a script, but there's some key things that we want to stick to the whole time. Now, the reason why in-person is a little bit more frameworky rather than scripty is the nature of doing in-person PT. The conversation is a little bit more fluid when you've got someone in front of you because you're going to pick up on a whole different bunch of cues that you may not pick up when you're dealing with someone on the phone or even Zoom. In-person interactions are very, very different. So with selling it in person, it can be intimidating. This is our way to help basically reduce that intimidation for you. And we reduce that intimidation, guess what? You get more sales, you make more money, everyone is a happy camper. So with the sales presentation, there's 4 key components to it that happen in every single sales conversation. And I would actually say that these components also exist for the session, okay? And I would definitely include these as part of the trial session. So what I mean by that is generally most PTs, and what I recommend across the board, is that when someone is doing a trial with a client, I don't think one session is enough to really illustrate your value. And I think 2 is ideal. Now, a lot of people have pushed back with me on that in the past, saying you're not respecting time for money or value and any of that kind of stuff. The thing is, if we close that person at $100 and we get 2 sessions a week out of them, that's a $10,000 investment. So I don't think it makes sense to actually say, you know what, it's not worth $10,000 to spend 2 hours with someone. That for me sounds absolutely crazy. Like at your hourly rate, say it's $100, you've invested $200 to make that sale. I think it's worthwhile. I would pay that for marketing in paid advertising, so I would do it and spend the time. And I don't think it's a bad strategy, particularly when you're starting up. So we have 4 components: opening, presentation, handling objections, and closing. Okay, so this is our step-by-step guide. So conversation, it's always rapport, okay? And we always want to remember the components of the ABCs of sales: attunement, buoyancy, and clarity when we're doing this part with the conversation. So smile, make eye contact, shake hands, always be standing up if you shake hands. And with the attunement, make sure you're 1 or 2 levels above the client's current energetic state. So what I mean by that, if they're like a 7, you're a 9. If they're a 5, you're a 7. So we don't want to be like constantly like big, wide, crazy eyes when we're doing this presentation. We want to be just slightly above the client to bring them back up. So, hey, great to meet you. Tell me a bit about what you're looking to achieve with your goals. Cool. Now, presentation. This will explain how your service can help them. And we're going to go through different context here if you're going to do after the session, before the session, etc. So let's get a little bit more detail. So in the first session, you'll do it like this, okay? Tell me about your fitness goals, go through that. If you've looked at the modules on using intake forms, you're going to get far more out of it, okay? So from here, what we would do is tell you about, you've done the trial session, how was it? Now your job is to basically help people understand how your service basically help solve their problem. So from here, what we'll be looking at is, hey, how'd you find the session? What did you get most out of it? What was the hardest thing for you? Was there anything you struggled with? So I just want to get some little details, because every single little thing that someone says in a sale is a potential objection to overcome, or a way to link what you do to what they need. And if you can do that successfully, you will close 9 out of 10 sales. You won't close every sale, I can't promise that, because there will be financial objections, but you will close a ton more. So with your presentation, you basically want to explain how what your service is. I'm not going to say personal training, what your service is can help them. Focus on how you can solve their problems and reach their goals. So if you've got the intake form, cool. We've got so much information here, and we've already assessed the client. So Paul, now in the intake form, you talked about how you had back pain. Now in the workout that we just did, we actually went through a really cool sequence called the McGill Big 3 to help stabilize your spine. So that's going to be really, really helpful for now, for helping getting you moving a little bit better and get you out of pain. Long term, what we're going to need to do is progress those exercises to put more load in there, so the actual tissues of your disc, the ligaments, and all the other cool soft tissue stuff adapts and gets stronger. So if we can do that, you've already seen a huge improvement in your back because you didn't have pain in deadlifts anymore. Is that correct? Yeah, they felt great. Cool, awesome. So if we keep progressing this is going to get stronger and stronger, and your back will be stronger than it ever has been. Now, you mentioned that you want to lose weight, and we've got some dietary plans that we can actually give you. I coach my clients in a client-centered way. So what that means is I'm actually going to use your input in the coaching process to make decisions. So the diet and nutrition fits into your lifestyle. You don't have to lose any foods you love. You may have to control them a little bit. You always give a negative with a positive, total overwhelming positive. And we can help you also drop those 5 kilos and getting out back pain. Does that sound exactly what you need? The answer will be yes. Okay. So at some time they will have some objections, and this is normal. And you know what? This should be encouraged. I think I will actually bring up objections at some point too. Are you sure money is not an issue? Is actually a really good way to pattern interrupt someone and get them to say no, money is not an issue at all, because generally people don't like being offended. So your main ones, you're going to get a price, time, and commitment. Okay. So with price, yep, I can understand it's a big decision. Tell me, is price the only thing that's holding you back? And if someone says yes, then that's your opportunity to sell them into your multi-tiered training product, different tiers. Another thing that you could do is cool. I can tell you understand how price it can be a problematic. Understand inflation's rising, blah blah blah. Always be empathetic. What we can do is actually get you training like this for the next like 5, 8, maybe even 10 weeks to make sure you understand absolutely everything, and then we can downgrade you to this package. That way, you're going to get all the stuff that you need to do. You're going to be able to pick my brain, learn everything on point, and then when the time is right, we can downgrade you so you can still keep on improving results, lose those 5, 10 kilos, eating the food you like, and then also get rid of your back pain forever. Does that sound reasonable? Yes. Cool. Now, time is an easy one to overcome because no problem. We can fit the sessions in around when you are. I work these hours, so I'm sure we can certainly fit the time in together. What we can also do is create time-effective workouts or shorter workouts for you where you can get a very similar result in a shorter period of time. Now, the downside of that is the workouts are really intense and really hard, but the plus side of that is you're going to finish in half the time that most people do. Does that sound like it would solve your problem? And then commitment, it's okay to feel unsure. How about this? Let's start with a short-term package. It's only a 2-week cancellation policy in most cases. So let's give it 2 to 4 weeks, see how you go. And if it's not perfect for you, we can stop it at that point. It's not something I normally do, but something I can do for someone in your situation. Does that sound fair? All these ways I've just overcome those objections are ways that clients will really struggle to say no to. Okay. And if you can get confident overcoming objections, what it does, the objection really a lot of the time isn't price, time, or commitment. The client just doesn't simply think that you're able to solve their problem. Right? And that's meant to sound like a harsh truth. And if the client doesn't think you can solve the problem, why would they give you money? Why would they give you time? Why would they give you energy? There's no reason for them to. Okay. But if they believe that you can solve the problem, they will give you money, time, and energy to solve that problem with them. So the confidence that you have in overcoming the objections is really, 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 really key. And the ability to tie it back to what you do and how it's going to solve their goal is going to help you overcome these objections really, really quickly. So when you close your sale, it's really simple. Don't be pushy, just be confident and clear. I'm really excited to help your goals. When you want to get started next week, are you looking at a Monday morning or a Tuesday afternoon, whatever it is? And now say, I'll look for a Monday. Now, when you present the price, cool. So the sessions come to $100. Now, with the session, we don't only get the session, but we get whatever other add-ons you have for your service, and they're okay to do it. You would actually preemptively close at that point. So it's like, so would you be looking at training 1 or 3 times a week? Oh, I can't afford that. Okay, cool. Then you can go through and actually identify where they need to be. The basic thing with the sale is you always want to do an assumptive close. Assume that someone, because they're sitting with you and talking to you for that period of time, they want to work with you in some capacity. They've endured 2 training sessions with you. They've worked hard. They've sweated. They've felt pain. They obviously value what you do. So at this point, we need to value it too. Now, some techniques for engaging and persuading clients. So this is a really, really useful point, actually. Be enthusiastic and genuine. No one buys off someone who's boring. No one buys off someone who doesn't care. Like, it's really, really hard to do. Sales, a lot of the time, are made by the salesperson, not by the actual product that's being sold. And I've seen this happen with cars. I've seen this happen in multiple industries. So it's really important to be the person that they actually get inspired by having around. Okay, so that's a big part of the personal side of personal training. Now, use simple language. Avoid confusing fitness jargon and keep it relatable. This is a double-edged sword. So I just want to be very, very specific here. 9 times out of 10, keep it relatable. 1 times out of 10, show off a little bit. So what I mean by that is your clients need to understand what you're saying, but they also need to have this kind of inkling in their head that you really know your stuff. And if you really know your stuff, it's very easy to close at a higher price point. And as you go through working with a specific niche, like when you're working in person, you work with anyone. Anyone who's got a credit card is your ideal client. When you move online and you decide to start doing that and working with a specific niche, you will need to know the jargon and you will need to know the specific technical language for that particular niche and avatar. And dropping it in every now and then actually makes you improves the client's perception of you. So I highly recommend doing that. Just do it at a very low ratio. Okay. And then share success stories. So you can show people pictures on your Instagram. That's the easiest way to do it. Get the client to follow you on Instagram too, because guess what? If they follow you on Instagram before the session, they're going to be more than likely to browse through your stuff, see what you do, see what your results are, see your testimonials, and start forming more and more of a picture of you. From there, once you've done the session, you can then take the selfie, post them up online, and boom, you've exposed yourself to their audience as well. So when their friends see that, hey, Paul's working with this personal trainer at the local gym, they want to ask about that personal trainer, what they do, how much it costs, and how it's going to work. So here's a little bit more on how to overcome common objections. Price, we want to go through solutions first, okay? So with the value of what they're getting, we kind of really want to, if we can establish really early on that we have the solutions to their problems, it's really easy to close irregardless of price. I've closed a package of multiple 5 figures for a 3-month program for someone based on the fact of what the problem we were solving. So the bigger the problem you solve, the more you can charge. The more specific you are at how your service solves the problem, the less objections you're going to get, okay, despite what you charge. So that's something that you need to keep in mind. And then you can always offer solutions like payment plans or packages to make it easier for them. I think with payment, having flexibility in the way that you offer it is one of the key things that you can do. I don't like when people say, oh, I only do packages or I only do this. Be flexible for your client. Make it easy for them to pay you. I don't understand why anyone would make it hard for anyone to give them money. To me, it just seems like a really odd thing to do. So when people say, I only take payments in one way and that's it, my immediate response is, cool. So do you only ever pay for those things in one way? Like, do you pay for your coffee packages when you go to the shops and get a coffee? Or do you only have your coffee on a direct debit? You need to be flexible to a point with people to make it easy for them to give you money, because when they're giving you money, guess what? You're then making money and everyone's happy. Now with time, emphasize the value of what they're getting, not just the cost. And with time, that I think I was a little bit wrong. With time, we want to make sure that we solve their time problem. So what we want to do is tell them we can actually shrink the gap that it takes for them to achieve their goal, rather than what it actually should realistically take if they did it by themselves. How much we're going to save them time from doing that. And with commitment, we can basically break it down to smaller steps. So let's get started. So the questions that you need to ask yourself are, how will you open a sales conversation to build trust and learn about your client's goals? It's really good to get like a regular way of doing that. So you have a script that you follow in your head, and you can basically tailor the language that you use depending on the person that you're speaking to. So if you're speaking to, say, a 65-year-old retiree versus like a 22-year-old, skateboarder, it's going to be a little bit different. And one of the 3 ways you can handle a potential client's objection about price, I actually start remembering that right now and start going, all right, cool, how do I handle these objections? And practice them. It's very uncomfortable to overcome an objection the first time, but as soon as you overcome them a couple of times, it's really, really good. And how will you confidently close a sale without feeling pushy? The assumptive close is the best way to do it. And if you can get comfortable doing the assumptive close, what's going to happen is that a lot of people will sign up, and they might be the ones who are kind of like on the fence anyway, but your confidence will push them over the line. So it's a win-win for you. So really simple. A well-structured sales conversation can help you connect with potential clients. Really easy. And if you basically focus on being personable, being a couple of levels above the client, and be able to solve their problems, you will certainly have a great time with sales, and you'll be far more successful, and you'll end up maybe even enjoying it.